Hi there, this is Jennifer here. Welcome to Crafting in Carrollville. We're getting right into our projects today. I have 5 upcycles that we're doing today. First, we're starting out with this stool. I love this little stool. I bought it at the bins. We're going to be using IOD stamps and transfers here to do this really simple upcycle. So easy, so quick. This is the Kindest Regards stamp, and I'm just inking that up with some light gray ink. I want this to be sort of a recessed part of the artwork. It's just going to sort of be a background. That's it. So I'm using just a stamp pad that I picked up at Michael's. It's archival ink, so it dries immediately. So you see I just turn my stamp upside down, and then I use both hands to rub the image all over, always keeping one hand holding the stamp steady. So, and just to prepare this stool, I really didn't do anything. I cleaned it really well, and then I took my palm sander and sanded the edges so that it looks really distressed. I wanted some of that wood to show through. It's probably not even wood. I don't know what it is, but it's probably some sort of hardboard. Anyway, and then this is a transfer from the Lover of Flowers transfer book from IOD, Iron Orchid Designs. I do love their stuff. You see me use waterslide paper a lot. That's sort of my go-to method for transfer and transfer images, but I also love these. This is for actually I'm probably going to keep it for myself, but I could just as easily take it to a show and sell it. Anyway, so I'm sure y'all have seen how the transfers work. You just cut around the image, figure out your placement, peel off the backing, and then just hover over your substrate until you're ready to put it down. Put it down. I'm sorry, I keep pulling it towards me so I can see it. Apparently, I'm not super worried about whether or not y'all can see it. So what I'm doing now is I'm really just getting good placement, and then I'm going to put it down where I want it. Apparently, that's where I want it. And then I'm taking my transfer stick and I'm just going to rub it. You're going to see me come in with a tool here just so I can lift a corner of it. And that's how we all do it. We rub until we see that transfer changing color or opacity. And so I see that little tool there. I love those little tools. They're not quite Cricut tools. They're a little sharper. Anyway, so I just have a corner of it lifted so I can see how much I need to rub as I go. I really, really love this particular transfer book. I feel like it just hits me in all the right places with the Shabby Chic, and there's just so many different things you can do with this transfer book, and there's lots and lots of transfers in there. I also like what they're doing with the smaller books. They have, I think, 8 pages, but there's still lots of transfers in there. They're just smaller, and I like that. Those little tiny letters are transferring really well. I'm just making sure that I get every little piece of them as I go. And sometimes you just have to give it some elbow grease, and eventually it all transfers. That's why they call them transfers. And I love the way that the IOD products really go together well, and you're going to see that in another project as we go. So that Kindest Regards stamp and the Lover of Flowers really works well together. Listen, I'm on a mission to do as many upcycles as I can, because I have got a huge stash of things that just need to be done. So I'm really, every video I'll make for the next few times is going to be just upcycles. I'm going to go out in my workshop, pick some things to make over and do them. Now you're going to see I'm going to add a stamp, and I can't remember what stamp set this is. It's another IOD stamp, but I don't remember. I don't use them. This is the first time I've used any of the transfer book and any of this particular stamp. So y'all probably know better than me. And look, I get it a little tiny crooked, and that really gets on my nerves. And that's why I decided I will probably keep it, because I'm probably not going to go back and fix it at this point. I'm just going to keep it for myself. I know I can fix it, and probably it will bother me enough to fix it, because I kind of roll that way. But anyway, again, I love how the stamp really finishes off the project. It just needed a little something up there. It wasn't quite finished on top, I thought. But and then I don't think I show it on video, but I do go back in and use some distressing ink to finish up the edges of the stool. And there I am adding some more distressing to the legs, because I just felt like it needed some of that paint rubbed off of it a little bit more. And then, like I said, I do come in with an ink pad and distress the edges of that stool. Now I have my washboard I'm working on. I'm going to use the same type of materials. I'm going to use a Lover of Flowers transfer. I'm going to use an IOD stamp, and I'm also going to use some molds. Not IOD molds, but molds just the same. I don't know about y'all, but I had all these things painted white, because when I know I have some upcycles coming up, generally the color I'm going to paint them is white. And if I need to paint over that, that's fine, but at least I've primed it. I've primed everything with white, and that's a good starting point. So here I am. I'm just looking in the transfer book to see exactly which one I want to use. I decide on this tea rose. I love it because I need something tall, I don't need something wide, and I don't need something circular. So I do decide and come back to that tea rose. That's the one I'm going to put on here. You'd be surprised how well the transfer fits down into all of those creases in the washboard. I have decoupaged on washboards. I've used water slide paper on washboards, and now this is the first time I'll be using a transfer on a washboard, and it works just the same with all three of those mediums. It works out wonderfully. So if you have any doubts about how you can transfer an image on a washboard, take it from me. There's several ways, and they all work. So again, I've just cut that image out, and you don't really have to do a super fussy cut with your transfers, because the only edge that's going to be left on there is what's naturally there. Like it's going to look sort of like a sticker, but there's not going to be any film anywhere other than right around the edge of your image. And now I'm just trying to see what else I'm going to do on this washboard. First I'm going to put the transfer on, and then I'll figure out the rest as I go. These projects were totally like organic. I didn't put a lot of thought into them. I just came out to my workshop and started upcycling things. I gave myself a general idea of what materials I wanted to use to do it, and then I grabbed the substrates and started working. I've got to get rid of some stuff out of my workshop. We have a show coming up in March, a small show, and we have a very big show coming up in April, and I've just got to get some projects done. I also need to start a new art piece, so that's going to be coming up within the next week. We've just had like a really busy season. It just seems like, you think life is slowing down, but really it's not. It's just new things are happening every day, and it never really slows down, and that's fine. I slow down though. I'm gonna tell you what, like I don't move as fast as I used to. I wish I could. I wish I could move as fast as I am right now in this video. This is like 3 times as fast as I'm really going. Now here I am. I'm pouring some resin. I'm going to use these rose molds. And by the way, those blue molds came from Michael's. If y'all haven't been looking on the baking aisle at Michael's, you might be sleeping on something, because they had some great molds this season. They were new. There were a lot of them, and I noticed they must not have been a big hit, because they all clearanced right away. So I think a lot of them are on clearance for $3 and $5 now. And I've bought all of the ones that I liked. There were a lot of them. So anyway, that might be something y'all want to look at. So with the resin, you just mix up A and B, and then stir it for 30 seconds until it turns clear again, and then pour it. Takes 10 minutes to set, super quick. One of the best products that I think any crafter could use, especially if you love molds. So it only took about, like I said, 10 minutes for those molds to set up. And now here I am. We live in Southwest Florida, so ours generally take significantly less than 10 minutes. But I will say that we had a super cold snap like 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And I told my husband, oh my goodness, I wondered if my molds would set up as quickly in the cold, and they did not. Like, they took a long time. I was surprised. Anyway, so I'm just using a little bit of wood glue and then some hot glue to glue down my molds the way I want them. You can see that the resin is still soft. I pulled them out just as soon as they were able to be demolded, because I wanted them to be a little bit bendable and flexible. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm just sort of making like a trellis on top of my washboard here. I love the mixed media. I love the molds with the transfers, and then you're going to see I come back in with some stamps, and I stamped that insert there where there was writing there. This is a smaller than, so there's a few different sizes of washboards, and this is the smallest one that I've been able to pick up. I have them in all sorts of sizes and varieties. If there are such a thing as a variety in washboards, I have all of them. So I pick them up every time I see them, and generally I see them at the bins. That's my go-to thrift store. If y'all don't know, I'm sure that if you're a thrifter and you live near a bins, that's where you hang out too. So I find some really great things at our local Goodwill outlet, or the Bargain Barn is the official name of ours here where I live, but for the sake of YouTube, let's call it the bins, because most people do. So anyway, back to those molds. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just arranging them the way that they look nice to me. I debated about whether or not I was going to do the down parts of the washboard, and I just changed my mind on that, and I just left it at that. And then I came back in, you're going to see, and finished up with some white paint and some wax. That's how we like to do our molds, right? You want to see all those details that just pop out when you use a glaze or a wax on them. My favorite part. I also love just the depth of imagery on those transfers. They really are beautiful. Okay, so here I am. I'm inking up the same stamp that I used on the Stool. I do decide that I'm not going to use the small line of text there, so I do end up painting that out. I don't know if I show that in the video, but you'll see that it's there and then it's not. So I'm not the best stamper. It's not something I do a lot, to be honest. I have a lot of stamps, but I'm not super great at it. Yeah, I do. I show you myself painting that out. It just doesn't belong, I feel. So, and I have something else I want to put there, so I'm trying to leave some room for another stamp that I'm going to use here in a minute. I do bring out my heat gun just to get through this process quicker. Heat gun's a great tool to have in your workshop if you don't have one. They're great for more than just drying paint, to be honest. Sometimes you just need to get projects done fast, and that's a great way to get things done quickly. I don't always like to speed up the drying process just because I feel like it doesn't really cure, it just makes things workable. So you do still have to let your paint cure and just, give it time to harden and do what it does. But anyway, I'm going to be coming back in with some rose stamps, and I for the life of me, I don't know what what stamps I have. I don't know the names of them. I didn't even look to see what the name of the stamp was that I'm going to use here in a second. Listen, this is one of those times in the video where I don't have any idea where I went. Like, well, okay, no, I probably do know. I probably went to get the stamps that I'm talking about because I sort of left myself in a lurch here. Like I said, I did not plan any of these projects necessarily. I just had an idea of what objects I was going to upcycle. I had an idea of what materials I was going to use, and what happened was I went out in my workshop to get organized. Now, I don't know how often y'all do this. I do it not often enough, but while I was out here organizing, I decided I would organize all of my stamps and my molds and my transfers, and I thought, oh my goodness, I have so many IOD products that I've never even opened. So, honestly, I think I should open them and use them. But here I am. I'm using this rose stamp. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I don't know which set it is a part of. I'm sure y'all do. You know who is the my favorite YouTuber by far right now is Erin Lee at the Provincial Farmhouse. She is an absolute artist when it comes to just layering products and mixing media and things like that. Anyway, so a lot of like this French country vibe that I'm doing here is inspired by watching her. I've always loved Shabby Chic and French country, but she really inspires me to actually get out here and make some projects. Anyway, so there I am, and I do come in and, I promise you I give you a better view too. But if you don't know, I am like super sight challenged, so I spend all my time out here kind of like debating and fighting, like whether it's more important for me to see what I'm doing or for you to see what I'm doing. And obviously, you're super important, but probably wouldn't be much to look at if I couldn't see what I was doing. So anyway, I'm just using portions of that one stamp to sort of, create a little vignette on this wooden insert on my washing board. And I'm pushing it into the corner there first, and then I'm working my fingers out. I'm using the same brown ink that I used. Where did I use that? Oh, I used it to distress my stool. And now here I am. Oh, I know what I'm doing there. I got some ink in places I didn't want it, so I'm just kind of sanding it off. That's what I'm doing. And my washboard was already pretty distressed, but that's what I'm doing. I got some brown ink where I didn't want it, so I'm just coming in and taking that off. My next step here is I'm going to paint those molds the same white that I painted the washboard. And I guess you could do this without painting them. You could just leave them that color, but I want them to be a uniform white. And you see how much whiter my paint is. It's I can see it in the picture. It's Snow White from Waverly. I just happen to have a little bit of this left, so I'm trying to use up all my white paint for these projects. I'm trying to just, like I said, come out here and do a bunch of stuff. Now I'm using Dixie Belle's Best Dang Brown Wax to bring out all the details in those molds. I love this particular part of the project. I think this is where everything really just starts to, really come to life. And it really brings everything together. You can see that the leaves are shaped the same across the project. You can see that, there's roses on, in each medium. And I love that. Here I am zooming in just so you can see better. And then I'm, moving it so you can't see better. And then it gets a little blurry. I just got all my bases covered here. Like, whatever makes it hard, that's what I've done. I use, pro tip here, I try to use the same brush all the time for my waxes, because once you use them once, they're not coming clean again. You can soak them, you can scrub them as far as I'm concerned, but they're not coming clean. And let's face it, brushes for the most part for use like this are disposable. You use them a few times and then you toss them. So, but I do try to use the same one so that I can use them a few times without destroying all my brushes. So here I am, and I'm just using a baby wipe or a wet paper towel, whatever I had on hand that day, to wipe back that wax, because obviously the idea is to get it to stick and stay in those cracks and details, and to keep the top the color that it was. So I do come back in, I know, at the end of this with a dry brush of that white paint, and just go over the high parts of those molds again. And you'll see at the end, in my final reveal, that I do show you what those finished projects look like. All of them at the end. Now this is my third project. This is from a plant stand, a 2-tier plant stand. You can see the spindles and the legs in the picture. Those were all a part of this particular round. I am not selling this because it is made of particle board, and had I really realized that, I wouldn't have done anything with this at all. But here I am, I've started, so I'm going to go ahead and finish it. It had a piece of, what's that called? Like, it's rubber, it's like veneer, and you can see the groove where it fit in on the side. So I took that off, and now I'm just replacing it with this metal ribbon. I got this metal ribbon at Hobby Lobby. It was super cheap, it was on clearance, and I'm just using wood glue and hot glue to apparently I'm using a lot of wood glue. I'm using wood glue and hot glue to secure it to the side. I was going to use molds, and then I thought, oh my goodness, I'd have to make 6 or 7 of something of one mold. It'd take a long time. So I decided against that, and I looked for an alternative, and my eyes just fell on this ribbon. And I said, hey, I think I'll use that. So, and I use that again in another project in this video. So if you have some metal ribbon you're looking to use in a project, here's some ideas for you. Be careful though, if you're using hot glue, that metal is a conductor, and it's hot, and I think my fingers might be immune to hot glue burns at this point, but maybe yours aren't. So, and again, I'm just painting it white. I do come in and fill those holes with Durham's wood putty. I don't show that in this video. There are so many things that we do, so often on this channel, that I feel like I don't want to show you every single time. It's got to be repetitive and boring, and so let's paint a while, because that's not repetitive and boring. But if you've never used Durham's wood putty, I think it's a great medium for so many reasons. Obviously I used it to fill those holes, and now they're not there anymore, but you can also use it in your silicone molds. Now we're going to do some water slide. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that this is my favorite transfer medium, for the reason that you are not limited to, IOD's new release. You can choose any image that you have permission to use and print on water slide paper. So you can see I soaked it in water. I soaked it for a minute. That's about how long it takes to start sliding along the carrier paper, and when it slides on the carrier paper, it's ready to be removed from the carrier paper. So you see how I did that. I held it on the edge, and then I pulled it from the other side, and now I'm going to come in with a paper towel and just get all that water from under it and around it. We're going to dry that, and I know I said that, and I know where I've gone. I've gone to get a paper towel. Now, I don't know how I miss all these dead spots when I'm editing, because this video is 39 minutes edited from about 107 minutes. So, so I've done pretty well, but I missed that. So yes, there I am. I've retrieved my paper towels. Here I am. And now I'm just washing, or rubbing, drying all that water, getting rid of it. And I just want to make note that I know you can see that film right there where the waterslide paper is, but when we go through our finishing process, you will not see it. And I mention that every time because it would really bother me if it ended up that way, but just trust me, it doesn't. I've just printed out random flower images from Creative Fabrica. All the graphics that I use in this video outside of, the IOD transfer, I got from Creative Fabrica. I'm going to have a link for Creative Fabrica in the description box. And if you ever have need of great graphics, that just like anything you could possibly need graphics for, you'll find it on Creative Fabrica. So I'm just cutting out pieces of that particular sheet of waterslide paper that I printed out, and I'm just sort of creating a frame around that rabbit of flowers, that bunny. I think he's super cute, and I do love him. I love anything like spring-ish and Easter-ish and mostly shabby chic and French country. I just love all that stuff. You can see here on the flowers that I just put down, there's sort of a harsh edge on there. There's, you can see where I cut the paper. I'm going to come in and fix that. I don't know if I show it. Oh, there I am. Yeah, I'm cutting out a little flower and I'm just going to put it there, and it's going to kind of mask that hard edge that I created there. I don't really like that. And like I said, please don't worry about that film. It's going away. By the time we seal this, I actually seal it with Mod Podge because I'm going to use it as a tray. I'm going to keep this for myself because I'm not going to sell something that's particle board. It's not pretty on the bottom. It's awful. And, I think it would give somebody splinters, to be honest. So, I've put my last flowers on there. That's all the images I'm going to put on there, but I am going to come in and again make sure all that water is out from under my images. I'm going to seal this with Mod Podge, and then I'm going to give it a final coat of clear wax. I thought maybe I was going to put more flowers on it, but I decided against that. I think that's plenty. And I love the color of those flowers. It's not really like my colors on my porch, but I'm gonna use this one anyway. I might just put it in my house on my coffee table. Now, now I'm gonna stamp. Now listen, I watched Ginger Chick Rehab Yvonne do this technique where she puts her stamps on packing tape instead of a thin mount, and that makes sense because these are from the Dollar Tree, these stamps, so they're not like super great quality. They're not like IOD, and they're not going to stick to what's it called? I just said it. Anyway, so I used packing tape, and I'm like not in love with that idea because it was so easy to get the ink where it didn't belong, but I just came in with paint and fixed that, and you just saw that. So now I'm going to add the word spring, so it's going to say happy spring, and I'm okay with the fact that the letters aren't perfect. I really am. I feel like it's just sort of the whimsical look of this particular piece, so I'm okay with that, and you'll see at the end it's a pretty piece. Now listen, this is my favorite project on this video. I am again using Creative Fabrica graphics, and I have just sized them so they are exactly the same size as my wood here. And the wood here I'm using are fence boards from our fence boards that fell down during Hurricane Ian. I have dozens and dozens of them, but we don't need to review how to do waterslide paper again. That's just what I've done. But I'm going to show you something else you can do with your metal ribbon if you have it. Here I am. I'm using an ink pad to distress the edges of that. That's just the quickest way to get that job done. But I'm going to be attaching a jar to this fence board with the graphics behind it. It's going to be a clear jar, and you're going to see how I do it, and then what I do with the jar. These are something that I made a ton of these a few years ago with different materials. I use napkins and spice jars and some other things, and they all sold. I don't have any more. And sometimes, I don't know about y'all, but if you're, a reseller, an upcycler, whatever it is you do, I forget everything I've made, and then I look back through the archives and I think, oh my goodness, I made that. I should make those again. So this is kind of where this project came from. I just remembered that, oh yeah, I made some of these before. I should probably make them again. But here I am. I'm taking that metal ribbon and I'm going to form it around the jar so that I can use it to strap it onto that piece of wood. And then I'm just sort of seeing how tall I want my flower to be and where exactly I want the jar to sit so that the flower lands in the right place. Again, we're just having a shabby chic day here around the Barnyard Boutique and crafting in Carrollville. But you can see I formed that ribbon around the jar, and now I'm using my staple gun to staple the ribbon down to the wood. And don't worry about those staples. I'm going to come in with my paint and you won't even know that they were there. I'm just going to paint them the same color that I painted the ribbon. And then I use my needle nose pliers to squeeze that ribbon around the edge. And I'm going to come in with a staple, and don't worry, I pound that staple in because it didn't quite go in the way that I needed it to. But I'm going to use a hammer to flatten that staple out. And then I'm going to come in with my paintbrush and just cover those staples in the same paint. So that's that. But I have another idea with fence boards that I'm going to show you here in a minute. I love these beautiful Victorian girls. I love everything about them. I love their dresses. They just look so graceful. I think this would be beautiful, like bathroom art or for a teenage girl's bedroom, something like that. Anyway, I'm just measuring where I want my holes to be because I'm going to drill 2 holes in the back of this board. Don't worry, I'm going to paint this board. I'm in a hurry, but I'm going to paint the back of it, I promise. I don't ever sell anything without painting the back. Okay, now, I've drilled 2 holes. I'm going to take some twine, and I'm going to put this tape at the end of the twine because it's going to make it like a shoelace so that I can get it through those holes. Now, I'm going to send it through both those holes, and oops, I sent it through the wrong way, and now I'm going to send it the other way so that both ends of my string are in the front. So I want both ends of my string in the front, and I want there to be just a strap of string at the back. So I'm going to make it be that way, and then I'm going to take my little glass jar vase. I picked up these little glass jars or vases at the bins, and I'm going to hot glue it down. You're not going to ever see that because you can see there's a sprig of lavender in the vase. There's also a ribbon on the neck of the vase, and you're just not going to see that hot glue. And then I'm going to tie that twine around the neck of the vase, and it's going to hold it onto the board. I love this project. I think it's so elegant and so pretty. It's just one of my favorite things that I've done recently. So there we go. And now I'm just going to add my little sprig of lavender, and I'm also going to drill holes on the top because I'm going to put a beaded handle on the top there. And to do that, I'm going to have 8 beads that I got from Walmart after Christmas. Their bead garlands go on sale. It's a great time to buy beads at Walmart. And then I use this wire that I bought at the Home Depot. I seem to make beaded handle projects quite a bit, so I've gotten pretty good at it, pretty efficient. And so I'm using my what do they call that, precision tip glue gun, to just drop a little bit of hot glue down in that hole, and then I'm going to glue that first bead down to the board. I'm going to fill the wire up with beads. There's 8 beads to make this handle. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other end of my bead, my handle, I'm sorry. I'm going to use hot glue to secure that end down to the board. I love this project. I just think it's so pretty. And then I'm going to take my Best Dang wax the brown color and wax those beads and wipe it back. I don't think I show that, but I do that, and you'll see in the finished project. So that's what I'm well, I'm actually doing the edges of my project, and I'm also doing my beads, and I don't know why I couldn't show you that. I don't know why I'm not in frame, but you know, if you can explain me, go ahead, try, do your best. And then also I do add the lace ribbon to that glass jar as well. That ribbon is a finger bow, and I wish I had shown you that, but if you ever want to see how to make a finger bow, just Google it, and there's lots of videos out there that'll show you how to do it. This is my last project, and I didn't show you the whole process because basically it's just a repeat of what we've already done. That's water slide paper that I used for the graphics. I made a beaded handle. This is a wood round that I bought at Hobby Lobby. They were 3 in a pack. They were on sale when I bought them, so it's a super good price. And now all I'm doing here is I'm just adding a flower swag, and I'm going to add a bow. And this is for my front door. This is not my final spring project for my front door. I'm actually making a plate wreath really soon that I'm super excited about, and I will definitely be filming that. So I'm just using hot glue to glue down my sprigs of greenery. Hey, listen, if y'all love this video, if y'all love upcycles, vintage, you know, shabby chic, farmhouse, all the nice stuff that we all love to see on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, subscribe, like, share, comment, all those things. That's really going to help me on YouTube. I haven't helped myself a lot because I just haven't been super consistent, but I know I'm definitely going to be working on that. Because honestly, I have a lot of projects I need to get done for my own sanity's sake because my workshop is just a mess. Anyway, you can see I added some eggs, I added some flowers, and now I'm going to come in with a bow. I am not a great bow maker. I'm like a great finger bow maker. I've been doing them since the 2nd grade, but bows in general just are not my thing. Someday I'm going to sit down and really learn how to make a bow, but for now I'm just going to do it this way, my way, my way seems to be different every time I do it, but I'm just making a simple bow, and I'm giving it a tail with polka dot fabric, and you're going to see at the end this project hanging on my front door. Turned out really pretty. Again, not something I'm keeping there, but I will definitely make a few of these for our upcoming show. Maybe by the end of a few of them I'll know how to make a bow. I can't promise, but I'm gonna try. I really am gonna try to teach myself how to make better bows. In the meantime, I'll see y'all real soon. We have, like I said, a small show coming up, a very large show in April. So from now until then, I will be crafting in my workshop every single day, working on whittling down my hoard. So I'm grounding myself from shopping. I am committing to crafting through my hoard. Now, I said that out loud for people to hear, specifically my husband, which I know he heard it like in stereo. So he's gonna put this on repeat and like play it for me every single day. Anyway, I'll see y'all next time. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun creating these upcycles, and we'll talk to you real soon. Stick around right to the end because I do show you what each project looks like finished. I think you'll enjoy that, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.